so that you are getting an introduction into the topic, but also next week in this time slot, in a different room, but in this time slot, we have a guest lecture presenting to us applications of business analytics, challenges companies face in business analytics, and I want you all to attend. I really kindly ask you to attend, because it looks also really bad on the University of Queensland. If I have booked a room, remember the course is 500 students, so I booked a larger room, and if there are only 10 students sitting, it becomes way more obvious if in a room of 350 seats, 10 students sitting or 10 students here. So please make an effort to come to the industry presentation. It will be, the question always, is it part of the exam? It is part of the exam in this way that he just gives more examples to what I told you. So it is relevant. Nobody will go and check on his slides. But the example he's given, this could be really good examples you use for your exam in answering your questions there. So yes, it is relevant by repeating it, and he's a different person than I am, so the way how he will explain it, the sentences he will use are different, and maybe when you find I didn't get what she meant, or she went over this very quickly, he will talk about it in a different way with a different example. So it is certainly very beneficial, in addition that you getting the contract to a manager at an accounting company. We start today with a video to set the scene, and I will turn off the light and start the video highlighting the importance of the topic for today's lecture.
I see the jobs in the data era shifting to be about data science. It's not so much about infrastructure, but it's about insight. How do we get insight out of the data? And that's what a data scientist does. In the data era, every problem is a data problem. So that's what gets me excited every morning. It's about how do we apply technology, how do we apply skill, and how do we apply insight to get to better outcomes. And it's really interesting, if you just reframe your mindset around every problem is a data problem, because ultimately it is, you really start to see the kind of impact you have. It's a totally different world. It's being defined by data, and the people that are going to have the biggest impact in this world are people that know what to do with the data, and that's the data scientist.
Do you remember what we said in the first lectures? What was our first block of teaching? Remember what we did at the beginning of the semester? What was it about? What did we do at the beginning? Thank you very much for that. Business process management. And what was the belief there, almost the golden rule was everything is a process, remember? This is when you believe in the power of business process management, and if you a business process officer, business process manager, business process engineer in a company, you walk around the company and see processes everywhere. These people, data scientists and people with focus on business analytics, big data analysis, they walk around and see data everywhere. What's true? Both is true. Everything is a process, and it is true. But everything also can be solved with understanding or focusing on the data and looking into the data, putting data together in ways that are unconventional. That's what is called pattern data mining, finding patterns. And if you do this, you can find a solution to a problem by looking at the data. If both is true, what's the solution for a company? You have to have both. You have people knowledgeable and understanding everything as a process, and you need to have people understanding everything through the lens of data, and data can help integrate that in your company, and you get the best of both worlds. Foundations for business analytics go back to the topic of knowledge management, because knowledge management focuses on capturing and storing, reanalyzing and distributing in the company the knowledge that exists there. That's why technology exists to support the collection of data, to transform it so that information is stored and maintained in an organization, and that knowledge can be used to solve problems and provide actions or recommendations for actions. You have two types of knowledge. You have knowledge like your lecture slides printed, like your textbooks, or that recording of the lecture that is available to you, that is an artifact, either virtual one or something that you can physically touch. This type of knowledge is called explicit knowledge, where the knowledge is codified, available externally. The more knowledge is made explicit, the more economical it can be transferred. Because you can just send a document, you can hand over a recording, or you can show an image. So these ways are extremely easy to keep and store in technology systems. The more difficult aspect of knowledge management is tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is what sits in your brains. It's your knowledge, it's your expertise, it's your personal knowledge, it's your expertise, it's know-how in the company. It is what makes you an expert or a novice. And this knowledge companies use on a daily basis. That's why they pay you a salary to do the job, and you get a higher salary if you have more tacit knowledge or implicit knowledge than if you have less. Companies would like to identify ways to extract the tacit knowledge and put it into codified forms. Why? What's so nice about it? If we are able to extract that type of information, the knowledge doesn't leave the organization when the employee moves on. If you're not able to extract the knowledge, or there are some obstacles to it, and an employee resigns who knew how a business process went, how to do calculations, or how to manage projects, if that employee resigns and goes, with him the information. And we see this in industries nowadays still, when companies want to move into new fields, into new areas. So Google, for example, set up their own cloud platforms. So cloud storage, cloud performance systems, and they don't have the expertise, they don't have the knowledge. But who has? A competitor, AWS, Amazon Web Services. So what's the easiest thing to get expertise on cloud solutions and cloud operations? You go to employees of AWS and say, how about we offer you more, and you work for Google, and you get free coffee, and you get a free gym, and you work for us. So suddenly they got expertise. It doesn't mean everything works, but they bought expertise of 10, 15 years from Amazon Web Services, or that company, into their own organization. And that meant the tacit knowledge from AWS walked out of the door and started working for Google. And it's a common practice. So knowledge management systems are technology systems that are capable of storing information, and making it accessible to the employees in an organization. They can be as simple as searchable repositories. When you want something, you want to know Gesundheit, when you want to know about a policy, when you want to know about how the quality management happens in your company, or how to apply for leave, you search a repository for keywords and you get an information. It can be more sophisticated, that you have collaboration tools and learning tools employees in the organization use to find solutions to problems. For example, companies forming technology-supported groups of communities of experts. So in an organization, experts to a particular field or in a particular field are nominated to look over a news group. And everybody in the organization can post a question to that news group, and the dedicated person in the community of experts answers the question. That means everybody in the organization has access to the knowledge of an expert without necessarily being co-located, walking into the office, or even not the requirement of knowing who the person is. Because if you're starting new in an organization, you don't know many people. And let's say you are in a company based here in Brisbane, you don't know who works in the headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky, and who has the knowledge to your problem. By using the knowledge management system and the collaboration knowledge system, you are getting access to expertise without actually requirements of the physical relationships. You have three kinds of knowledge. If you look at those three types, what do you think is the most difficult type to capture in a system? Exactly. So the tacit knowledge, the unstructured knowledge, is the most difficult to capture. Other question, if you look at the second type, semi-structured, what types of companies would have a need to store digital pictures, voice recordings, images? What types of companies could that be? Sorry?
Electricity companies.
Electricity companies. Why? Tell me about it. What would it be?
Because they will send you the voice or deliver created by email.
So what's the image they have in their databases?
The customer's information.
But that's not an image. No, I talk really about pictures.
Logistic.
Okay, what pictures would they store?
Like a delivery model.
No, they wouldn't store maps.
What's apps? That sort of communication apps. We have pictures, voice notes.
Yeah, but which company would be interested? Which industry? And I'm asking because when I prepared the lecture, I thought, why would they store images? Well, think about the creative industry. The creation of, you want to have a database on your designs. So your drawings or architectural designs. So you want to have if you're a record company, if you're a movie studio, the data you're dealing with are creative outputs, are images and drawings. You need, if you are a conveying company where you have all those measurements, all those images you took. Let's say you are marketing an advertisement company and you have a lot of images for certain products. You want, that can't be, think about Excel. That's what you work, no, that's not a database, but you have not really an connection or have used it. But traditional databases are really good in capturing numbers, like in a table. But those databases, you need special types of databases that are able to store image files. And even more so, you could say, well, I have a file storing system on my computer I could use, and I can save pictures there. That's how I save my digital photos. Yeah, fair enough, you can do this, but then are they searchable? Do they have a version management? Can you attach additional information about delivery dates? Can you link the images to, let's say we are a design company, can you link the images to fashion shows where you produce them? Can you connect the supply chain management systems of ordering certain materials with the images in place? No. That's why you need knowledge management systems that capture the data, and if it's a creative industry, the fashion designs, as well as the documentations. Learning management system. What is a learning management system? It is a technology, or it's a system that keeps information, or that stores knowledge about knowledge. It keeps information about employees in an organization and what their level of knowledge is, and it has triggers in place or reminders when people need to go to training seminars, when they need to get additional knowledge. So in industries where knowledge changes quite frequently, which industry could that be? Yes, please? I know an industry that changes much faster.
Electricity?
No. What are you studying? No, the other students? What are you studying? Are you all majoring in IS? What are you majoring in? Applied finance? Somebody else? What? Supply chain? What else? Accounting. Isn't it so that the accounting regulations change regularly and the government updates? Well, that's how it used to be in Germany. Every year they were updating the legal framework on how to calculate something, adding something to the tax. So the accounting rules in Germany changing on a yearly basis. Here, not here in Australia. Tax accounting, maybe you're doing maybe more financial accounting, but tax accounting changes on a regular basis. And there are a lot of rulings. Believe me, even here in Australia, there are a lot of rulings happening. So you need to make sure that the staff who advises clients gets constantly updated and takes seminars to know about the new legislation. And so a learning management system can keep track of who needs to go to the seminar, who has been at the seminar, and who's scheduled to go next, because it needs to be a holistic approach. And yes, you're right, education changes also very frequently. It's not necessarily it's in one, so it's a two-level dynamic. One is the content that changes, so it gets constantly updated, what we teach, but also the meta level changes quite frequently in the way how we teach. So the teaching, blending with technology, doing flipped classrooms where you prepare everything prior to coming to lecture, and we only do exercises. So be prepared that your way of learning in the years to come, So if you're not necessarily finishing this semester, but if you're continuing with us, we'll change. Have you heard of the term flipped classroom? Flipped classroom in an extreme case means that the material I'm preparing and presenting to you today, which is captures on my slides and captures in the textbook, is given to you prior to the lecture. So you have your slides, you have little video clips, and you have your textbook. And it's expected that you work on your own through those materials prior to coming to class. And now you're wondering, well, what are we doing in class then? In class we will do exercises. So we might create a knowledge management system or identify strategies for organizing knowledge, or we might analyze some social media feeds on their business analytics abilities. So the knowledge would be that the learning in class would be more applied, and the theoretical knowledge would be your responsibility than outside the classroom. So you're getting more skilling, more upskilling in that way. So that's knowledge management. Any questions there? Now let's move on to business analytics and business data. Business intelligence is a term that captures all tools available in an organization for consolidating, analyzing, and providing access to large amounts to improve decision making. When we look into data analysis and big data in particular, the improved decision making means knowing your customers better, understanding your customers better. Tell me please, why? Why would the company want to know their customers better? Yes, please? That would be a very honorable idea, but what does it actually mean to fulfill my needs?
To make good decisions.
Yes, you all think so nicely. Think like a greedy business person. What does it mean to understand your customers better? Why would you care? Now me talking. You want to understand your customers better because you want to do more tailored marketing to do better advertisement that is highly relevant for your customers. How many of you have children in the, under the age of 1? Okay, which means, think about it, I distribute a flyer to you that says nappies that are normally $35 will be tomorrow at Kohl's, will cost tomorrow at Kohl's only $5. Do you care? No, because you don't need nappies. But and that means I don't understand your needs because you don't need that. But now how about I read your social media feeds, I'm able to get information from your emails, I look up your shopping behavior because you're collecting points with Woolworths and Kohl's. So I'm doing everything to understand, I have cookies, remember the cookie monster, I have cookies in your computer so I know which web pages you serve and all this. So I understand you better. And I will, for example, take you as an example. I know you like cosmetics from Clinique. So if I know this, I will send you only advertisement about this. And you can't say no, despite that you have already 15 lipsticks from them. If you see a new color and it's 50% off, you will go and buy it. And then you can buy it online, and if you get online, you get a little facial cream on top of it. So knowing your weakness will make sure I can sell more. And that is really the ethics that comes with it. So big data is fantastic. I'm not discarding this. Business analytics provides companies with so many opportunities. But for us as consumers, it really means we become vulnerable. Because suddenly advertisement is not broad anymore, as it used to be on TV advertisement, newspaper advertisement, or billboards you walk around the city. You get tailored advertisement in your email inbox, in your Facebook news feed, in your emails, or on web pages you go to, because companies understand you better. And because they understand you better, you are hesitant to say no, because that's actually what you want. And you're spending potentially more money than you have. Now let's talk about the different opportunities companies have in getting that information out of the data they're collecting. So you as a customer provide them with a lot of data, with a lot of information, because companies store all the information on shopping transactions in their database. Now, importantly, note you have databases here, and you have one big database here. What it means is the analysis of data does not take place in the original databases. You're creating a copy of it. The software that runs and conducts business analytics and big data calculation creates copies of the business transactions. And what is called, they don't say we create a copy, they say we create a data warehouse. Like a normal warehouse where you store things, it's a data warehouse. So you are creating, and it doesn't mean you create a copy once a month. Predictions might be outdated. You can create copies on regular short time intervals, but you're not running the business analytics on your original data. You create a copy, you create a data warehouse, and from there you can identify patterns in your data. And then you can do decisions to, you see, increase your profits. In modern companies nowadays, the marketing department, for exactly that reason, runs the company. Marketing managers are the most powerful individuals in a company, because they walk around and say, we analyzed customer data, we are listening to the customers, that's what our customers want, this is the strategic direction the company needs to go. This is the release date of a new software, this is the product we need to produce. All based on big data or other customer information. So marketing became even more powerful using big data. So marketing, so if you have some courses available, you might want to look into marketing, because if you are doing an IS major and are interested in business analytics, big data, you need two things. One is statistical and mathematical skills, and you need to understand customers. So marketing, certain courses in marketing, and training and education in mathematics, statistics, because big data is not abracadabra, what's the data telling me? No, it's running mathematical models, it's calculation, it's regression analysis, cluster analysis. Yes, you have technology support, so you're not sitting there with your calculator, but you need to design the equations. The computer is just your tool for running it. You need to tell the system what he should be running. So you need to understand how that works. But I'm not talking to art majors here. You all have chosen finance, so I'm sure you know exactly how stats go, or accounting. So I would be very surprised that a student, if you take accounting, don't like mathematics. So if you don't like mathematics, maybe consider your choice of profession. That's, again, it's not abracadabra, lecture, emerge. you're doing it. From what I've heard, it has to do a lot with numbers. So yeah, we talked about this already. So chief data officers become really important. If you're going up to the job market, remember my words, you will see a lot of job advertisements that require skills on big data, business analytics. If you have no specific expertise in that, you might want to consider, if you find it interesting and fascinating, to move towards that direction, because companies opening up departments and have no staff to fill positions in those areas. And everybody with skills and knowledge on business analytics, big data, at the moment has an easy entrance in the workforce. How does it work? A three-step process. You have data sources. From there, you select the data, you cleanse it, you organize it, you make sure you have no double entries, you run performance analysis, big data mining, we will look at it, we look at how big data analysis takes place later in the lecture, and then you publish it one way or another in your company. The first way of analyzing big data is by doing an OLAP analysis. And what OLAP stands for is Online Analytic Processing, and in simplest form, you creating a three-dimensional or multi-dimensional cube where you're asking you ask for highly complex relationships or answers to highly complex queries. One could ask, tell me what was our highest selling product in the month of December, because we want to be prepared for next year's Christmas shopping or this year's Christmas sales, and we would like to know which products we need to produce a lot to have a lot of it for the Christmas season. But this is a two-dimensional query. Now it comes down to, tell me which customers or in which regions. Are there differences in regions? So I want to know what are our three most selling products in the month of December compared to the month of July, and in which regions. So those calculations can get very complex, or the queries you formulate are getting very complex, and that can't be done with a simple SQL inquiry, and that's why you do online analytic processing. Another way how to analyze data is by looking for hidden patterns and relationships in databases. Did you hear of the story with the pregnant 15, 16-year-old girl? If not, let me tell you that story. It has to do a lot with data analysis and with data mining. A couple of years ago, in the Midwestern region of the United States, so that's Ohio and surroundings, a dad was very angry and ran into the local Walmart store asking for the manager to complain about that Walmart is sending emails to the 15 or 16-year-old daughter about pregnancy products, about pills, hormonal pills, creams for pregnancy, about pregnancy clothes or initial toys for your baby, humidifiers, and everything you need at the beginning of pregnancy. And he yelled at that manager of, how can you do this? My daughter is still in high school, she's a good girl, you are setting her off in the wrong track. The manager was very apologetic and was, oh my God, I'm so sorry, that must be a mistake from the headquarters, won't happen, I will take care of it. So the dad put it down to a mistake by somebody in the company. No mistake had happened, because using data mining, the company had analyzed the shopping basket of the girl. And the company had analyzed what this girl was buying and match their shopping products to a pattern they had identified with other people, and knowing those other people were pregnant. So what they analyzed, the purchasing behaviors of that 15, 16-year-old girl, and determined she must be pregnant. Let's send her more advertisement to the topic. And sure enough, when daddy came home, the daughter was sitting in the living room crying and confessing that she's actually pregnant. So Walmart, analyzing the shopping behavior and the shopping basket, knew earlier than the family. So, and that's why the story made headline, because it is exactly that you look for hidden patterns in shopping behaviors and then send advertisement to this individual, because you assume, even if you don't know, nobody shows up at Walmart and says, oh, I'm 3 weeks pregnant. Nobody knows, but you want to know. But they know because of your shopping pattern. Or if you are having an injury, or you are, whatever your life events are in one point of time, by exposing your interest online and through rewards cards, this can happen. And so you have different ways how to identify patterns in data. Another way how companies can better understand their customers and know what's happening is through text mining. So now we don't have data, we don't have shopping baskets, we have text. And where's the text coming from? Normally social media. And remember last week when we talked about companies listening in the word of mouth, so the consumer to consumer communication about products and services? This is how it can be analyzed. Using a sentiment analysis, a human being reads, or let's say 50, 100 postings to a certain topic in a very comprehensive time period. So over 2 days, 1 day, depending how many are there, and starts coding these statements for good words, neutral words, or negative words. And so human beings are being able to determine that, read through the postings until a certain separation is reached and no new positive, negative, neutral words can be identified. And those words, like keywords, are fed into a computer program, and sure enough, you just taught a system to analyze 200,000 posts in 10 minutes, 2 minutes. Because you don't need an army of people to read through the postings, you just educated the computer to do this by giving them keywords. Yes, of course, you have an error rate such that computers can't detect sarcasm. They don't know when the opposite is meant. Human beings can, and there might be new words the computer can't handle. But overall, if you're analyzing 200,000 postings, 500,000 postings, you're happy with an error rate, because it still gives you the sentiment of your customers talking about your company, and that provides you with the with measures to respond, either to fix a problem, to sell more of the product, to produce more of the product. So business analytics now is pushing it to a higher level. So analytics are used to summarize the world. So you want to create a profile of your customers, to identify what their preferences are, what their weaknesses are, to be able to sell more, and using all means you have. So you can use different metaphors in approaching this analysis of your customers and that understanding process. You can reduce the data set, you can look for relationships between different data, and you can do any future predictions. Big data means you have a large amount of data available. The amount of data you have, or companies have at their hands, is larger than they can handle. Why is that so? Because think about 20 years ago, This was not a problem. Why is that a problem today? A good problem to have for a company. Sorry? Yes, you use mobile phones. Keep going with the mobile phone. Only because you use a mobile phone, it's not getting me big data. But what's the mobile phone doing? Hmm? What information? Stay with mobile phone. What's so nice about a mobile phone? What data could be connected? What could be collected? Location data. So location data, particular with mobile phones, yes. And location data will be sent to your provider, or if you are signed up with certain apps, look, they store location data, sending it to the company, and then the company says, wow, I have 20 million customers and I have location data. They're moving around everywhere during the day. I have tons of location data. What am I going to do with it? What else? What else creates a lot of data inflow? Social media technologies. 20 years ago, we did not have, 20 years ago, you did not have the opportunity of having a software or an application such as Facebook or Twitter or any other social media application available where you could write everything what comes into your mind. There are people who posting, now I'm in a lecture, now I'm going to the bus, now I'm sitting in the bus, and they could say, I'm at the University of Queensland, I'm going to the bus of Greyhound, and I'm now having a sandwich from Subway. So you suddenly becomes relevant for the companies. This creates an enormous amount of data. And companies understand or believe there is value in that data. So like hoarders, they collecting. And if 3 criteria are fulfilled, that the volume is massive, the data comes in an enormous amount of speed, so it comes in very fast, and it's diverse. It's not just text, it's images, it's icons, it's symbols, it's, yeah, what else do I say? Personal data, location data. Then we talk about big data. And companies want to know what they can do with it and can analyze and get value out of it. One other example I would like to give you where a lot of data is coming from. Do you have any health monitoring devices? Do you wear health monitoring devices? Fitbits, any other technology that counts your steps? Yes, exactly. Do you know that with Bupa, or Medibank, one of the two, or even both, in collaboration with Coles, provide you the opportunity to get points for the steps you take. So when you connect, let's say your Fitbit, when you connect your Fitbit with Coles, you register your Fitbit at Coles, you get points for just walking around. Isn't that great? Who would be interested in that information? And why? Because you're getting something which seems to be obviously free, and as my Australian friends say, there's no free lunch. There must be a reason for it. So somebody is interested in that data. Who and why? Who?
For example,
Nike. Why would they be interested in how much I walk?
I think they may be curious about some people when and why they run and the steps they walk every day, and they can research and find new shoes.
Well, that's a very creative way, yes. So they would say, oh, this person walks a lot, let's give them some of our shoes, and then they can walk with those shoes. Is that what you said?
I think we can, yeah, they can start with shoes.
What? Who else? In a more malicious way?
Energy drink?
No. Who's Bupa? Who's Medibank? Insurance companies. The reason why they paying for your steps is it gives the information who's exercising. So envision a future where you sign up for a health insurance plan, and part of your health insurance plan is that you wear a monitoring app that monitors physical activities, because you otherwise paying premium, an extra premium on it, if you're not exercising 30 minutes a day at a heart rate of 130, because non-physical activities means you're less healthy. And if you're less healthy, you're costing more. So you pay more. That's what big data will mean. And so the big data, so we're creating a lot of data, for example, through those health monitoring systems. And to my knowledge, this has not been done. That I don't know any health provider where you pay more or less when you are based on the health monitoring activities. But believe me, Bupa and Medibank doing this together with Coles because they want to trial it. So they cannot roll it out completely untrialed. So they're collecting from a subset of people who have signed up with them the information, the data, and developing forecasting models. Because you know, if you ever take classes in insurance, it's not as simple. So you need forecasting models, how to develop the premium, how to define premium, what are the diseases, but vascular reasons and diabetes are the two most expensive diseases people can have, the most two common diseases people have, and they could be dealt with by being more active. So it all makes sense, and thanks to big data and the technology, because, well, what is it, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we didn't have those health monitoring devices. It is possible to know now where we are and how much we walk. It also means that companies just getting overloaded with data and experiencing a data exhaust. They're completely exhausted with how to deal with the data. And that's why I keep saying, if you have knowledge on big data, if you know how to analyze the data, companies will love you because they don't know how it goes. That is an architecture you see here, the storage, the servers, the applications in your companies. Here's the data warehouse that draws from your databases. Here are the different analysis techniques you run over it, and on the top you have the analytics application that then do advanced statistics with the data and being able to process that. Now I would like you, in a very comprehensive way and by somebody else, so a different voice that might gain your attention back, introduce to you how companies actually analyzing the big data they're collecting. And this is this gentleman, and he speaks very quietly, so let me do. So. And I might turn off the recording for that. I will put you back on after the video. So the traditional way of analyzing data was that you send the data, that you have the data then coming to the software, and with Hadoop, the software goes to your data. Exactly. I just want to have more light. Perfect. And the data goes, the software goes to your data, processes there, and only sends those pieces back you need, so your results. Very smart way. This is the theoretical concept. Implementing it will require technical skills. It will be difficult to do, but it is already important for you to know how it is theoretically possible, to ask the IT team and people with skills in implementing an Hadoop and MapReduce solution in your organization. Another way of using technology to improve decision making is through visualization. Have you heard of this statement, a picture says more than 1,000 words? A picture says more than 1,000 words? So having an image is much easier than having lengthy explanation. Have you not heard of it? No. Okay, let me show you in practice what it means. So here is a visualization of big data in a computer simulation. So these are all the libraries they have there. And so with that, so that's enough to show you. All what it does is, instead of giving you an Excel spreadsheet where you have the name of the library and the number of active users, and yes, 2011 doesn't matter which year you have, it would take some time to identify which are the two most busiest libraries. With data visualization, you can easily identify those two branches and see which library is the library that has the most users. And so data visualization is also used for natural disasters, taking information of flood maps or information about flooding, especially here in Brisbane, and putting it on a map. And that shows you flood maps. It's much easier to comprehend for human beings when there are color-coded areas of streets where it's red, yellow, green, and ample color, and it shows you what are the most, which are the safest area and which are most dangerous areas getting flooded. So that was a very high-level introduction into the differences in big data, business analytics, knowledge management, to give you an introduction, but also to motivate you, if that is of interest to you, to check out the courses the business school has. We are offering a number of lectures where you gain more skills on business analytics, big data, because this is what the job market at the moment asks from students. The last couple minutes, and I will keep that short because we went through it over the course of the semester, looks at the ethics and the ethical questions. The use of technology causes some tensions in the society, and that relates to who has access to data, all the information about your shopping baskets, and you've seen the incident with the dad not knowing that his daughter is pregnant. Is that something Walmart should know? Should they be able to make those intelligent conclusions, and should they be allowed to? Do you have a right to know what data is stored about you in any company? What if, who is responsible when confidential data about your financial situation, about your medical records is stolen? Your medical data might impact your work engagements, any information about future appointments. So the cyber punishment of criminals that hacking and destroying data is not clearly regulated. If those criminals sitting in other countries than Australia, how could you punish them? Are you getting legal requirements in place? So the legal framework has not picked up on the advancement of technologies because creating a very sophisticated legal framework takes time, but technology changes way too quickly to be able to do so. There are some core ethics principles that relate to the dealing with sensitive data, with personal data, and companies following this in a way of they have to, but also are self-monitoring, because they worry if they not self-monitor behaviors, the government puts it as a law. So it's always beneficial for companies to self-restrict their actions. And so one is that you are given consent. Similar, if you sign up for any newsletters, you have the possibility to unsubscribe and know how to stop getting those emails sent to you. And similar here, you have a right to an access on your data to know what information is stored about you. So theoretically, you can request from Woolworth or from Coles to know what information they store about you, and have them even deleted if you wanted to. Where's big data heading? Companies are very challenged in analyzing the data they have. Companies are very overwhelmed by the amount of data they are offered through various channels and don't know really how to work with this type of data. Will big data go away? I don't think so. It will become part of our daily lives. The hype around it. So at the moment we're seeing a hype. Big data is a buzzword. Every company needs a big department of big data. So the search and exploration companies undertaking at the moment is ongoing until they find their place in the big data world or the business analytics world in knowing which type of data they can ignore, which type of data will produce value for them, and which data is not worth to be looked at and stored and processed. Next, please, we have our industry presenter. All information will be and are already on Blackboard, so please check out Blackboard. I wish you all the best with your assignments. Use the tutors actively. They have consultation. I have you print out now. Otherwise, I thank you very much for your attention, and I see you back